We will start. So good morning to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And yeah, so I'm Narinda. I'm account manager here at the Thames Valley Chamber of Commerce. Today's webinar is about a measured approach to entrepreneurship. So my member, Anne Williams, will be delivering today's webinar. So I think we've still got some people coming into the room. So I'm just going to give it a couple more seconds. I hope you can all hear me. We've got Christine that's just messaged in the chat box. So welcome to you and everybody else. If you can't hear me, please do just quickly put a message in the chat box. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you, Christine, for confirming. Okay, so I'm going to start with the webinar. So as I mentioned, I'm Narinda from the Thames Valley Chamber of Commerce, and it's my member, that Anne Williams, that's going to be delivering today's webinar. So I'm going to pass you over to Anne, and she's going to commence with today's webinar. So thank you very much, and thank you for joining us, Anne.
Thank you for that warm welcome, and welcome everybody who's decided to attend today. Very pleased to welcome you to this webinar on a measured approach to entrepreneurship. Sorry, Narinda, could you give me access so I can move the slides? Otherwise,
oh yes, of course. Just doing that now.
Might be a very one slide show.
There you go.
Thank you. Right. Okay. Sorry. There we go. So this is me. So if you can't just see the little face on the screen, now I am on your big screen as well. I'm very pleased to meet you. Anne Williams from UK Business Mentoring. Been mentoring business owners since 2009. We offer not only ongoing sort of mentoring programs, but also full business reviews. It is all our programs are really tailored around what your needs are. Every business have a different need. Mentors are quite often referred to as your unreasonable friend, and we're no different. UK Business Mentoring is rated #1 in the UK by client feedback. So let's go straight into the definition of entrepreneurship. The act of creating a business or businesses while building and scaling it to generate profit. This is the definition of entrepreneurship. However, we tend to use the broader definition, which determines entrepreneurship to be transforming the world by solving big problems, which actually leads people to believe that they need to be the next James Dyson or Elon Musk to be labeled an entrepreneur. But looking at the more detailed definition, there are 3 components to entrepreneurship: building and scaling, which can be translated into discipline and perseverance, and creating, which is innovation. So let's have a look of how we relate this to an existing business. During this webinar, I will present some examples of innovative ideas. I will welcome your thoughts as well on organizations that you consider innovative. But for now, I would like for us to have a look at the areas within and where an existing business can be innovative. Whilst conducting your day-to-day business, you'll inevitably come across areas which can be improved, and any of these actually count towards innovation and being an entrepreneur. Any of you who actually started a business were entrepreneurs at the time that you started, so it's all within your reach. We often relate innovation to new products, and whilst it's true, we must also, sorry, my slide just moved back again, there we are. Whilst this is true, we must also consider innovation in connection with the customer journey, internal processes, and any products and services which complement the existing offering. As a broader definition said, entrepreneurship is transforming the world by solving big problems. I now invite you to rethink the word world. Think of it as your world and not like the wider territory. Your business is your world, and it's also a world for the people you employ. So by making a difference here, you are effectively changing the world. Areas where you'll find innovation are quite often linked. If you develop a new product or service, you could still be servicing the same customer base or developing a complementary product that will increase the level of customer loyalty. One area that tends to get overlooked is internal processes. Going back to the definition of entrepreneurship, it is building and scaling it to generate a profit. What better way to be making the processes within your business more efficient, generating profit without selling more? One thing is clear, it means change and utilizing resources in a different manner, and time to understand what else is required. So don't just start from scratch. Many resources are already within your business, and this webinar will focus on showing you how to measure the resources you already have so you can understand what you'll need to be innovative and an entrepreneur. Right, these slides are not really moving. Sorry. There we go. The presentation today is looking at finding additional resources within your business that you can utilize to be innovative. We'll go through 7 key areas of business where we find resources, but also where you'll find ideas for innovation. The first consideration is around your lead generation, as any innovation should increase this area for your business. We'll also look at how developing new product for your business can actually increase leads for your existing portfolio. Understanding how your product, existing or innovation, serves the needs of your customers is vital for generating leads. Traditional marketing strategies quite often start with defining these, as they are the benefits that your marketing will highlight to the customers as a reminder to buy more. We often talk about avatars, and that's not a bad idea if you are a visual person and you want to connect with your customer by imagining what they actually look like. Part of an avatar is understanding the demographics, and when considering your innovation, make sure that you know not only what your existing client base looks like, but what the new one looks like, and then measure any overlap. Looking at your marketing, this is a really valuable exercise. It can highlight some existing resources within your marketing plan that you can actually use for your innovation. Psychographics is what makes a purchase long-lasting. It's the why they buy that is so important. So when considering your innovation, think again how the introduction will impact your current clientele. So you don't want to take away their happiness, but also what the innovation will be adding to your clientele, old and new. In the initial stages of product launch, it's often the case that the psychographics is what we as business owners imagine that the new product will bring to our customers. So it's vital to listen out for feedback in the initial stages to really understand what your product truly does for a customer. Make sure that your business have ample ways of capturing this so you can learn. When considering branching out into new products, take stock of what makes a customer come to you. Whatever your innovation is, never lose sight of your existing business, as the innovation should be adding to your business and helping it grow. It should never eliminate what's already there. Your compelling competitive advantage is why people come to you. So make sure it's captured in your new product and service. It will only make your brand stronger. So consider this in the context of your new product and service. If the new product is aimed at the same customer type, then there could be some overlap in your use of marketing. And this can save you cost in your marketing budget because you're utilizing what's already in place. Make sure that you do not try to force your innovation on existing customers. If it's not relevant to them, it will actually have a negative impact on them. And at the same time, it won't be promoting your innovation. Make sure that you understand who the decision maker is for both existing and new products, because they're the key people you need to reach out to. And you need to understand what media they favor. Phrasing of your message is also important. Some products are better promoted as visuals, whereas others need more text if they're technical, more complex. Understanding this aspect of your product will help you choose the right marketing tool, and check for any overlap between existing and innovative portfolio. So many business owners mistakenly believe that marketing plans are big, complex reports with lots of moving parts and images, and therefore it is no surprise that actually it's found that 90% of businesses have no formal marketing plan. You can really make it quite simple. The key part is to measure the impact of your marketing and make sure that mistakes are not repeated. So a simple Excel format is all that's really required. And what I'll do after this webinar is I will share a template with you to get you going. There's nothing to stop you from evolving this, and you can certainly put some flashy images on it if you wish. But what is important is just measuring the impact. If you're spending money on marketing, make sure it gets you the result that you want, whatever that is, if that is sales leads, awareness, or actual purchases. All of these ingredients are part of improving the customer journey, but also making more efficient use of your resources. You want to introduce a new product in your offering, think about any potential overlap in the customer base. If the customer base is the same, utilize the marketing channels you've already tried and tested. And make note, even for the new product, of the ones you have tried previously where you didn't get a result, because this could very well be the same case for your new product. So in that case, don't think product, think who will reach and how. Getting customers interested in our product is part of the journey, but what really counts on the bottom line is actually getting the sale. So the customer journey is quite often referred to when we're discussing conversion rates, and there are two aspects to it. There's the actual customer experience, but also the input from the staff. Can anything be improved in your current customer journey? Are you using yours and your staff's time effectively? And don't forget, the product line will also take time away, the new product line, sorry, will take time away from your staff. So any efficiency changes to your current working ways will actually benefit the introduction of the new product. Are there items for the current customer journey that can be utilized for your new product? It's easier for staff if the journey and impact on them is the same as currently, because it's, and if it's not, that's not a problem, but it's important to factor in time for staff training. I'll talk more about staff considerations later, but don't forget their role in securing the highest conversion rate possible. So now the customer is through the door and ready to buy. The average sale is calculated as total sales revenue divided by the number of transactions. So if your new product is complementary to the existing product, then it should be presented as part of the sales process for the existing product. If the new product is unrelated to the existing product, but the customer profile is the same, then consider having some marketing material to hand about the new product, which you can then give to the customer as they leave. So as an example, you can think along the lines of when you go into WH Smith, you go in to buy envelopes, and then at the till, you quite often get a voucher for, say, books, something unrelated, but still something that you will buy at WH Smith. You may not buy the books that day, but you could actually use that voucher another day and buy a book at the same time as you buy some pens or stamps or anything else. So this approach not only won't increase your average sale on the day, but it will increase it in connection with the next transaction, or it could. So upselling is the traditional way of increasing your average sale, but key focus must be around whether your product or service will supplement what you're already offering. Make sure that you understand when in the sales process you and all your staff would naturally introduce the customer to the new product. Timing is important because you otherwise risk confusing the customer, and use not only the complementary product sale, but also the original one. With the examples on the slide, you can see that even if the customer says no to the additional sale, it's not detrimental to the original one. If innovation and existing product is actually linked or links naturally together, then a good way to link the product in your offering. So don't forget to explore all options for the link and possible sales scenarios. It'll help your staff understand how easier to sell both products. The more naturally a product is introduced in the sales scenario, the more likely the upsell will actually work. Think back to the customer journey under the conversion. How does a typical customer journey progress? And when is the best time to introduce the additional product? Typically, as you can see here in these examples, it's at the end of the process, for example, for online sales. However, that may not be the best option for your business, and it could be very dependent on what kind of product you are or service you are providing. So providing a base for future increase in average sale can also be an option. Like I said under the previous example with the WX Smith vouchers. So be clear on what you want from linking your existing portfolio with your innovation, and be prepared to measure the impact. You can use a template for that. So under the discussion with the average sales, promotions and marketing material handed out during one transaction can actually lead to another one. And most businesses that I certainly know of will offer products that customers will need repeatedly. And it is important to ensure that the customer comes back to you and don't go anywhere else. Consider your existing customers and bringing the items together that we've talked about, such as the customer journey and target demographics and psychographics. How does this relate to your new product? Often when launching a new product, we think in terms of starting completely afresh, but your existing client base are the ones that are actually the easiest to reach. So they've already bought into you and your product base. So their feedback, if you ask them, it will often be more engaged and detailed, and therefore of real value to you and your new product. So the key message here is not only to think new, think of what you already have. This slide will give you some of the key questions to be asking yourself to encourage repeat transactions. And I forgot to say right at the beginning, I will be providing you with a PDF copy of all of the slides. So I do apologize for not saying that earlier, in case anybody's really busy writing notes. Right, I'm just going to have a quick look and see if there's any questions. There's no questions in the chat. Okay, no problem. You can always put questions in the chat. I'm happy to answer anything, and there will be obviously.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you, Anne. So yes, so please do post your questions in the chat box. Can I remind everybody, or just tell them, that this webinar is being recorded so they can listen to it again, which is going to be available probably later today or from tomorrow morning via our webinar library. And also we will include the recording in next week's newsletter under the member event section. So yeah, as I mentioned, if you've got any questions, please post them in the chat box. I have a question for you, Anne. Okay. So if an individual wants to become an entrepreneur, how would they generate new ideas or a concept?
Yeah, so within an existing business, and so this is where I'm sort of focusing my attention at the webinar today. Yeah. So if they want to be an entrepreneur and sort of it's building on what you already have. So it's listening out really for the feedback from customers. Customers quite often come up inadvertently, really. I don't think they really mean to, but they come up with phrases like, "Oh, it would be nice to have," and then mention something. It could be an add-on service that complements your product. It could be an additional product, or maybe even a slight change to the product that you are producing. So that is listening out for that feedback. It's not all down to you as a business owner, or to the individual to come up with a new brightest idea. Just listen out for what is already being given to you during the customer journey and the process with the customer.
Excellent. Okay, thank you, Anne. Okay, I'll let you continue now.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so right, I will move this slide in a minute. There we go. Right, so every part of business operations can be measured, but two of the key numbers that is really important for any business owner or any business to understand is the gross profit margin and the net profit, because they actually reflect the true profitability of your business. Sorry, there we go. Okay, so the gross profit margin is often confused with the markup. It's not the same. Markup is really good for setting your price because that way you ensure that the cost base is covered, and then you put your markup on top of that. And that is really all it should be used for. Your gross profit margin is linked to your revenue, and therefore it shows how well you turn sales into profit. So it's one of the key indicators for a business. And if your journey of entrepreneurship means that you're launching a new product or service, please make sure that you actually measure the gross profit margin for each product line. Because if you measure them as one, you run the risk of missing some key indicators if anything in your individual product strategy needs to change. So think if you suddenly have a vast upturn in the demand for your existing product, but your innovation is really not taking off, it could be masked because it would then show that the gross profit margin overall is rising within the business, and you could be saying, oh, well, everything's fine, but really it's not. There's something missing to make sure that your new product, your innovation actually takes off as well. So you have a couple of levers to play with to improve your gross profit margin, and that is increasing the selling price or reducing your cost. So with this example, if you look at it, see it in the light of your expanding product portfolio. Cost saving can happen due to money reaching further. So as I said before, it could be you have the same number of staff, but they're working across both product lines and selling both. So that means that obviously the cost of their wages goes against both product lines. Also, you could have product facilities or raw materials that are covering production of more than the existing product. So selling takes effort. So reviewing, utilizing your existing cost base more effectively will bring a short-term win, but also a sustainable one. So under the cost of sales, you will also have marketing costs. So, and as discussed before, if you can utilize the same channels you're using now, even if it might mean a small increase in cost, because you might have extra use of whichever channel you're using, it will be smaller in comparison if you're starting from scratch. So any variable costs you currently have in connection with your existing offering should be reviewed, and agreements with suppliers should also be revisited. Because if there's an overlap in what you need from them, if you need more from them, it's often a great time to negotiate a discount if you're scaling your business. So not only the variable cost should be reviewed, the fixed costs too. If the fixed costs can remain the same when expanding your portfolio, this will not only mean an efficient cost base for your new product, but it will also benefit your current offering and generate an increase in net profit across your full product range. So if a further investment is required in order to facilitate this innovation, consider if there's room to scale existing contracts, or if you might need a new supplier. Type of fixed cost I'm talking about here is, for example, office space and insurance. Quite often there's a natural limit to how much a supplier can deliver. And if your requirements is above this, then it might be time to switch suppliers. It'll be worth the investment in time to consider all options. So before I go on to staff, I'm just going to have a quick look. No, I can't see any questions yet. Okay. Right, so with staff, that's obviously the human aspect of a business is one of its key attributes, and as with everything else, it needs to be considered when a business is expanding or changing in any way. Any change within a business, whether it's doing innovation to your new processes or introducing new products, will have an impact on your staff. And depending on the size of your business, members of staff might not be impacted equally. So think, for example, if you have office staff who are doing the sort of back office tasks, they might not be very heavily impacted, whereas your sales staff probably will be if they're selling more than the current product offering. So your new processes may need some training to be set up for members of staff, and time must be allowed to actually implement these changes. Updating objectives as well is key, and as it ensures that everybody knows what is required from the staff member right up to the management and the leader. Periods of change can be very tricky. I mean, I don't think I need to remind anybody about the past year and a half that we've just had, and obviously, well, we've got a bit more to go. But opening up for the communication is really good, because it opens up for feedback as well. And as I said before, make sure that your business is actually open for internal feedback, because we all know that an idea can look great on paper, but it can look completely different in a practical environment, and it can look even more different to the people who are then supposedly implementing it. So just as you listen to your customers, your staff will also have an opinion, and it should be heard. Sorry. When looking at developing skills, please just be careful not to assume that everybody wants to upskill. Make sure that you know who will and who won't. By having this sort of very clear overview of your staff and where they want to go, you'll also be able to start identifying any potential gaps, and you can hire accordingly. I have quite often used with my clients what I call a visionary org chart. So basically, I look at what the goals are for the business, for the future goals, where we want to be, map out the different skills that will be required to actually achieve this goal and sustain it, and then map it against the current org chart that you have for your business. That way, you can identify where the gaps are. This will also, it could actually save you some money in the recruitment process, because it will make you more focused on what you actually want from your future employees. And it should ensure that you actually get the right person. So the importance of communication can't be stressed enough. So the idea and rationale for introducing a new product and process can be clear to a business owner, but if the staff is not clear on why change is happening, then it's less likely to be as successful, and it will create some frustration. So key takeaway is make sure expectations are set and what you wish to achieve is clear for everyone in your business. So these 6 areas that we've now already discussed and the outcome from going through each one of them can be summarized in a SWOT analysis. So SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is a visual and a very valuable tool to understand your risk and opportunity by undertaking any addition to your business or any change really that you want to manage. The same 6 areas will also give you a very good picture of the state of your business and where you'll have to be mindful or maybe invest even further to ensure that the business will reach the goals that you've outlined. A cost-benefit analysis will require a bit more costing than the actual SWOT analysis, and you can use this as a financial projection. So think of it as an exercise that if I spend or invest X, what will my gain be? This is typically used to make the decision of whether to go ahead with a project or innovation or not. Whereas the SWOT analysis can be used at any time to determine any challenges that your business is facing. You can also use it going forward. So you create it first, you make changes, and then you compare where you are now with the previous SWOT analysis. So it's a very beneficial tool for introducing a new product as well and following your progress. An ongoing monitor for your business, I would recommend using a dashboard that clearly splits out the financials for your current portfolio and for your innovation. As I said, under the gross profit margin, it's very important to measure the two separately. This way you can clearly monitor what your success is, and also you can make changes if these are required. Any key performance indicators, KPIs, that you determine should be considered for every product. So these will be linked to what you wish to achieve with introducing the product. If your innovation is even down to improving internal processes, you can also measure this using the dashboard. You can tailor the KPIs to whatever you need to measure. There's no set formula, there's no restrictions on what you want to measure. The SWOT and cost-benefit analysis are more snapshot in time, whereas this financial dashboard, if you fill it in every month, it will give you a picture of where you are at any given point. So like with the marketing template that I've already offered to share with you, I will share with you a template for this dashboard after the webinar. And I've just got one final area to go through within the business before we come to some examples. So the final ingredient, which is the very important part of the business, is hopefully not too much of a surprise because it's you, the business owner. And in times of change, what often causes confusion is the change in role that the business owner undertakes. If your business is expanding, you won't be able to manage all the areas yourself. And it's not an easy transition. It should not be underestimated. As I mentioned before, a vital part of running a business is measuring what gets done. And this is the business owner's key responsibility. As a business mentor, this is quite often the one area where I see people get challenged. Also, the area that often means that business owners are reluctant to embrace innovation in their business, as they realize that the scope will widen and they're not quite sure of how to deal with it. So self-management is, so the structure and the planning and the delegation are really key areas for every manager, but no more so than during times of innovation in a business. It might be clear now and it might work well. However, innovation will bring along change within a business, and it will mean a change in the way of working. And it needs to be considered not only for staff, but also for the business owner, and if you are a larger organization, for the management. Existing business must be kept running, but time has to be made available to deal with the innovation and to ensure priorities are set, and therefore delegation. And as mentioned under the staff consideration, you might need to factor in some time for training, for the delegation to happen effectively. Invest in time upfront in order to save time later. So start from the beginning and make a conscious decision to include innovation in your business. It's doable if it's actioned and measured. So be disciplined and persevere. So it's always good to relate all of this information. Now I've sort of thrown about half an hour's worth of theories and examples at you. So I would now like to sort of just open it up for you. Have a think about if you can come up with anybody who you think have been innovative, or any business you've been innovative. I would love to hear from you, and if you can put it in the chat. Some practical examples. It could even be yourself if you would like to share. I'll give you a few minutes to include any thoughts. I do have sort of 3 examples, some from varying business that obviously I will share with you, but yeah, I would like to just open it up, to just give you a couple of minutes. Sorry, Narinda, I seem to have lost the chat.
It's still there.
Okay. Yeah, I can't see it. So
Okay, that's fine. I'm there. I'm looking out.
yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, I've just made a post in there. So yeah, I believe electric vehicles introduced in the car market.
Yes.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So smart charging, fast charging, and everything else that's involved with that.
Yes, exactly. And it's quite interesting with electric vehicles, because sometimes it seems a bit, maybe it's more UK. I was watching the news yesterday, and they were talking about the new vans for Vauxhall that now got a major investment, and they're going to be making electric vans, which is great news. But somebody was from Vauxhall was commenting on the fact that there's not enough charge points. So again, it's one of those sort of, yeah, just imagine what the innovation will bring with it, because otherwise we're going to have all these sort of broken down vans.
That's right, yeah.
running out of charge.
Okay, so we've got a question here. So it's an anonymous attendee, and he or she has posted, is it better to work on a business as a side hobby whilst you're currently employed, or quit your job and take the plunge?
That's a very good question. And yes, so first of all, you would need to, what you would need to consider is why do you want to start the business? That's where I always start. I have had a couple of clients who've been full-time employees, but had a long-time dream of having their own business. Make sure that what you want from the business is really clear. And that can be whether it's money, or you want more time with your family because you want to work from home, want to work more flexible hours, what it is. And then look at what you will need from the business financially. So because obviously if the financial goals are not reached, that can get you or make you quite upset with having made the decision to start on your own and actually give up the safety of a full-time job. So those are very key aspects. Obviously you can run a business next to being employed, but it will take a lot of your time, because running the business is not only going to market and selling a product and service, all the admin behind it as well. And I can tell you, I mean, there's accounting, there's networking, there is marketing, and everything will be down to you. So yes, it can be done, but it will be done at a cost. And it's whether you want to make that cost.
Great. Thank you, Anne.
Okay.
Okay. Let's have a look. Okay. I don't think we've got any more questions, but yes, attendees, please do post any questions in the chat box, and Anne's here to answer them for you. Okay, and do you want to continue, or do you like to?
Yeah, I do. I need to find my little note. There we go. Right, okay, so these are my 3 examples. So I've taken sort of very different size businesses. So the first one should be well known to everyone. Coke Brasserie, obviously a very successful restaurant chain. Really, their sort of key image is obviously it's French inspired brasserie. It's not too expensive, but it still feels a bit like a celebration that you go out, but you can still sort of weren't going out on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. And yeah, anything. So and it's tailors, or their menu is wide enough, so everyone will be able to pick something. It's geared around people who want to dine out, and families also. So obviously with lockdown, a lot of restaurants have to close. A lot of restaurants then made takeaway, if it was not previously provided. That was their innovation. So they actually took it to, it was still the same menu, and they did takeaway. Coke did the same, but Coke took it one step further, because they introduced what they call Coke at home. So basically it is not only can you buy the dishes and you then put them in the oven, but that means that you can buy more at a time, and you can enjoy cooked food whenever you feel like it. You can also mix and match all the different sides. It's a bit like being at the restaurant, but you're basically in your own home. They also went to, you can buy the off-cut or the cuts of meats, you could buy cheeses, and basically, so you could set up like having your coat at home. So again, they built on what they had. It's the same clientele, it's the same menu, it's the same ingredients, it's the same marketing, as you can see from the slide. This is taken from their website, and you've got Coat at Home up at the top. But the twist is that you cook with your own raw ingredients. So yeah, I would certainly be very interested to see what their financial statements look like and how this innovation has actually worked for them. But that is an innovation.
We've got Peter Smith, who's just posted something in the chat box. He's mentioned the new LoRa One network that is being built to support the Internet of Things, being built by iHub Global and utilising the domestic power and internet connections, and also the best locations for a wireless network. So that's his example. And Peter shared his contact details if you want to, contact him for further information on that.
Yes, no, perfect. And well done. There you are. There's an entrepreneur in the room. Perfect.
Thanks, Peter.
Okay, right. I need to find them. There we are. So my next example is a small business. So this is actually a previous client of mine. So she runs a shop that sells biltong. So as most of you will be familiar with biltong, so a snack type food, South African. So it's marinated dried meat, comes in small packages, readily available. People will go in as and when they feel the need to have some biltong. Clientele is pretty much everybody. It's very popular with people in the trades, and also with young people. It's very high in protein, so that it keeps their energy going. So my client, obviously running a shop, lockdown, shop closed. She did have a website already. And on the website, it was more, well, you could order if you wanted to. The thing with biltong is, because it's snack type food, is so it's for people, they want it now. They don't want to sort of going, right, yes, I fancy some biltong, right, okay, I'll go online and I'll order it, and then it'll come to me in 3 days' time. Yeah, the moment has passed. So what she did was she expanded on the current website that she's got. And on the e-commerce side, she included some subscription packages. So that meant that people who would buy biltong regularly would actually be able to sign up, and you could have the subscription. It wasn't limited to once a month or once every 2 weeks or whatever. You could set the subscription as and when you wanted it. So that way, it meant you had a regular supply of biltong. You could have it there ready for whenever the mood struck you, and you fancied some. And yes, it was geared around the same clientele. It was the same product, and she actually reskilled her staff in the shop, because they've been mainly serving customers. They had not actually, she does all the food production on site as well, but she skilled them into how to help out with marinating and cutting and preparing it for drying and packaging. So that way it meant with slight skill upskill, they maintained their employment with her, and the business kept going. So that was a really great move, and great innovation. So my last example is another client of mine. So she is a sole trader. She is a children's author. And she has developed a range of books all around life's little bugs. So think humbug and litterbug and things like that. So they're very cute. But anyway, I don't know if there's any authors in the audience today, but being an author is not very profitable. So she some years ago found out, no, she wanted to take her books and the characters and go into schools and do some so early learning and development, but with the background is in schools. So she started some years ago being innovative in actually still building on what she already had. So because the material was already there, she did need some investment in, obviously, DBS checks. She needed more insurance and things like that, but the schoolwork was coming in. Again, lockdown hits, school closed. So she then expanded again, because it's all around little bugs. She decided to launch some outdoor workshops for children. So she's actually, again, taken these bugs and created workshops, and she can tailor the workshops around anything that an after school club or a volunteering organization or a school actually want to achieve for the children. And also, again, reaching out to her key clientele, which would be, well, it's schools, but also and after clubs, and also parents of these children who want to learn. So yes, so again, it doesn't matter, or my key message here is, it doesn't matter what size of business you are, innovation can come in all shapes and sizes. So don't think you have to be a big corporate to be innovative. So, any questions?
Any questions, anybody? Okay, so I have a quick question for you, Anne.
Yeah.
So what are the main challenges that you are seeing that businesses are facing, or challenges that are being faced by entrepreneurs?
The main challenge that I see is being faced by entrepreneurs, and not just entrepreneurs, but businesses in general at the moment, is the amount of change, and it's managing that change. And that can be quite overwhelming. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this webinar, is to basically break it down into more sort of bite-sized sort of parts that you can tackle one at a time. Because if you're thinking or just looking at the big picture, it can be very overwhelming. And as I said, with regards to the business owner, it does stop people from thinking that they can be entrepreneurial or be innovative, because they go, no, I can't see the wood for the trees here. There's so many moving parts, and I have to keep my existing business going as well. When do I take the leap? And that is the biggest challenge. But hopefully this webinar will put it a bit more in perspective.
Great. Thanks, Anne. Okay, so Anne is sharing her contact details there. Please do connect with her. She's on LinkedIn as well, and you can find Anne just by putting in Anne Williams and then the company. So connect with her. You can visit her website for further information. She's also put a mobile number there and her email. So do send her any questions or any information that you may require with her services. So thank you, Anne, for delivering a detailed webinar today on a measured approach to entrepreneurship. It's been very interesting. It's an interesting topic that you've touched on and educated us on today. So I've been going away with some really interesting points that you've touched on. So thank you. Can I remind the delegates that this webinar has been recorded, so you can listen to it again via the Chamber Library, webinar library, and also it will be in next week's mailer, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, Anne, is there anything else that you would like to
no, so on? Yeah, so I just want to just quickly remind people, I will be sending you all an email after this webinar. And I can put in the link for where you can revisit the webinar on the webinar library. I'll send you a PDF version of the actual slides. And I will put in the 2 templates that I promised you. And please, yeah, just contact me. You won't be going on a mailing list, I promise you. So please don't feel that you need to come back and unsubscribe or anything. If I don't hear from you, that's perfectly fine. I just hope that you've taken from this what you needed. I do offer a complimentary one-to-one mentoring session if that is anything that is of interest. Again, comes with no obligation. So, but we can talk about that separately. But thank you very much for your time today, and thank you, Norinda, for hosting this.
No, thank you. Thank you for delivering today's webinar. So, Anne, you've mentioned you're going to be sharing 2 templates. One is a marketing template, is that right? Yeah. And the other is it something financial?
It's a financial dashboard.
Dashboard, okay, you've put it in this slide here. So yeah, so please do contact Anne for that. I'm just going to quickly mention, if you're not a member of the Chamber, then this is our membership model. So as you can see, this is the different tiers that we offer as part of the membership, and you can choose the tier you would like to enter into, as opposed to us saying to you, yep, you're a micro business and you would fit into the Connect or the Discover membership, but you have the choice to select the tier you'd like to enter into. There's my contact details there. If you do have any details, if you require any details or information on the membership or any areas of the membership, then please do get in contact with me. I'm also on LinkedIn, so please do connect with me on LinkedIn. And once again, Anne's details are there. I think she's covered most of her details in her slide there, so I'll just leave it there for now. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you, Anne, once again. And yeah, thank you.